from the studios of the Department of Communication in Phillipsburg, welcome to Prime Minister Talks with Honorable Prime Minister Sylveria Jacobs.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 13th episode of PM Talks. I am Sylveria Jacobs, Prime Minister of St. Martin, and I'm joined today by two of my colleagues, Minister of Finance Artwell Irion and Minister of Romy, Deputy Prime Minister Egbert Jurendi Duran. Normally we have the program a little bit earlier, but due to the fact that today was really overrun with meetings of the Council of Ministers with our shareholders with the government-owned companies, and soon with the unions, I still decided, based on the fact that I believe a lack of information is pervading out there, to host this meeting or this little information session with these two ministers so that we can better inform our civil servants, our employees of government, as well as the general public as to what is going on right now. So I want to give the floor to Minister of Finance. Minister Irion, would you like to clarify what exactly the conditions are and why we are where we are today?
Good evening to the people of St. Martin. Good evening, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister Egbert Duran. We are here today because of COVID-19. We have a meeting in the next 15 minutes to discuss our last proposal to the unions. We just got their counter proposal. We also have conditions from the Netherlands for future funding to support the SSRP and also to support our liquidity position in government, also the food voucher program and so forth. In short, the conditions from the Netherlands are 12.5% cut of payroll support for the civil service and 25% cut in the personnel costs of ministers and MPs. Our current proposal on the table is basically 4 points. The main point of discussion is the 50% vacation cut for 2020 and a 50% vacation cut for 2021. Those are the two cuts that directly impact civil servants. We've also made cuts when it comes to the overtime. We've also zeroed out travel, so there's zero travel on the budget. And also the last cut was, overtime. And uniforms. So those are the 4 cuts that we made related to civil servants. PM? Yeah.
Yes, to cut civil servant salaries. Make that very clear.
Yes. So there was a misconception even today at the I want to call it a strike, the walk-in, since they walked into the government building. I realized that a lot of persons are either being misinformed or haven't gotten the proposals that we sent to the unions. Because the main thing is what was said today was, don't cut my salary, not my salary. Actually, I even had another proposal that came in and said that we are cutting 12.5% of salaries for a certain amount, and then every scale you're in, we're going to cut another trader, another increment. So there are all types of misinformation going around, and I want to clarify again, our current proposal on the table does not cut salaries of civil servants. It's 50% vacation pay in 2020 and 50% vacation pay in 2021. We also include overtime, uniforms, and zeroed out travel. That is the proposal on the table right now. I have seen briefly the counter proposal from the union, which does not take into consideration anything that, or any condition from the Netherlands, except for the fact that they would like to have a negotiation on 50% of COLA, which I have never seen a number to that. I don't know what that cost is, or even if the entitlement is legal at the moment. Not me as Minister of Finance.
Thank you so much. Let me let our colleague, Minister Duran, what would you like to add to that?
Well, basically, the Minister of Finance touched on most of the points, and we need to emphasize and send the message out there, the correct message out there, because, I mean, based on information that I've been getting as well, it seems to be that a lot of people are being misinformed, a lot of civil servants are being misinformed. And right now we are going through some trying times. It's around the world. It's not only a St. Martin thing. I mean, Hurricane Irma and Maria were more of a St. Martin thing, and we received help from our neighbors. But right now, everyone is feeling the pinch. And if everyone is feeling the pinch, we have to be able to take that $1 and split it up between every one of our inhabitants. Although, as a minister, I'm not only responsible for the civil servants, I'm responsible for every individual on our island. So therefore, I have to see to it, and we have to figure it out, as they would say, that everybody gets a piece of the pie and are able to survive. I mean, these trying times are not going to last forever. And we cannot look at it one-sided and say, you know, the private sector needs to figure it out, because our income as a government has been on a monthly basis between 40 to 45 million guilders. And right now we are chopped in almost 1/3 of that. So all our income comes from the private sector. So if it can be that we are in line with the private sector when it's convenient to us, but we also have to keep them in consideration as well when moving forward, when executing the SSRP and all those different things, because everybody has to eat. And as a representative of the people, I believe that that message should be sent out there even louder. If it was up to me or any one of my colleagues, we wouldn't cut anything. If we were in good circumstances, we wouldn't cut anything. If we could have given extra, we would have even given extra. After Hurricane Irma, everybody received a voice cut. The option was there. Anybody, every civil servant had the option to receive a advance payment and all those different things. So we cannot forget the good times during the bad times. We have to prepare now and, how they would say, suck salt a bit in order to move this country forward. And I believe that, I know that good times are ahead, but we have to hold one head and do not let our brothers and sisters in the private sector suffer, but stand in solidarity with them as well. And we are doing our best. The Minister of Finance, the Prime Minister, my other colleague ministers, they're working very hard. We are all working hard in order to bring us back to where we need to be, but we need all hands on deck.
Thank you, Minister. I appreciate your words of encouragement to the general public. It is really a situation of we were faced with a take it or leave it situation, and seeing our current liquidity position, we didn't have a choice but to accept these conditions. This is one of the reasons why earlier, I mean, as much as we feel horrible to have to ask our civil servants to assist, the position St. Martin is in isn't because of the 4 ministers, the 7 ministers, or even the parliament that is sitting today. It is from years and years and years of situations not fixing things in time. This government has taken a stand that we will fix things, but now you're being told fix them by July 1st or else. At the end of the stick, the Dutch are our only avenue to loan funds at the moment. It's a loan, it's not a gift, it's not free money, whereby in the past you could have said you got a grant. The only thing that we can consider a grant up until now is the medical assistance we've gotten after COVID or during COVID, and the military assistance that we've gotten. So in that respect, St. Martin was between a rock and a hard place. And all we're saying is we're trying to help those persons in the private sector who don't have an income and who, if we do not help, would be out on the streets. That would spell disaster for St. Martin. Even if we open up our external borders in a day, in 2 days, in 2 weeks, in a month. We still were looking also at the fact that we're going into a slow season. Where does the money come from? Where does the money come from to pay the civil servants? Where does the money come from to pay the subsidies for schools, for sports facilities, and all that? It comes from what government gets in taxes. Nobody likes that word. We have to also find a way to generate more funds to be able to meet more of our own needs. We want to stand on our own, but that means responsibility across the board. So all we're asking, as we can feel for our brothers and sisters who have nothing, we want to have that those who have help chip in. Now, we did not initially, or when you hear 12.5%, some say, oh, they want to come at our salaries. Our Minister of Finance and the Council of Ministers said we stay away from the salaries as much as possible. So because the statement was, let's look at your personnel costs And based on our LMR, we were able to find some funds within our budget that don't necessarily fall in that bracket, but they are personnel costs. The cost we spend on uniforms, the cost we spend on that other thing you mentioned, Minister. But at the end of the day, we rely on our salaries to get around. Those people out there have no salary or half a salary or whatever the case is, a decreased salary, the ones we're trying to help. It will mean that, yes, we are asking you to take the pay cut in your vacation pay. We're asking you, instead of, first we said take your, give up your full vacation pay this month in June coming. Then in our recheck of the finances, the Minister of Finance was able to split it over 2 years. So 2020 half, 2021 the other half. I'm hearing some teachers have come forward, understanding the situation after last night's Zoom information. We are willing to take the pay cut in our vacation pay as long as we get it back later down when St. Martin is doing better. St. Martin, of course, we can agree to that. We expect that St. Martin will come back. We have come back from everything we faced this far. And the taxes you pay go to pay salaries, keep schools open, fixes the roads, does all these things, pays for the roadside cleaning, pays for garbage to be collected. That's where your taxes go. And if we do not have, excuse me?
Prepares for hurricane.
And prepare us for hurricane. And if we do not have those type of funds in our till, in our cash, we cannot pay this. So had we not taken this loan with all the foolish conditions that we don't like, then come August, we would not have even had the funds to be able to pay you. And if we don't take the cut of the personnel costs and bring them down over the rest of the year, and at least maybe for, I don't know, we are looking at 6 months because we expect our economy will bounce back. But we will be evaluating as the years go down, and hopefully we can say we cut it off, and in 2021 it will be only half of your vacation pay, and in 2022 you'll get all of what was cut from you back. So it's not like we're trying to cut off our noses here. We're asking for solidarity. We're asking for you to stand with your fellow St. Martiners who are feeling it worse than we are. That's how we're asking. We think that what we're asking is not maybe nice. You don't want to hear it. I'm seeing people talking about a cola that government could never afford in the first place. When I was a teacher, I also fought for a cola, but since 2011 or 12, I've heard nothing more about it. What I think we need to do, and what this government is prepared to do, is address the cost of living on St. Martin, is address the high rent, is address all these things that are causing our cost of living to be so high. And that's what we want the opportunity to do, but it will take all of us tightening our belts at this time. We are prepared to take the hit. We're asking you to help us so we can help the others. Minister?
PM, I think just one point in addition to what you said, because you mentioned cost of living. I think what we discussed in Council of Ministers was not specific items, but we want to address the quality of life on St. Martin. So we want the quality of life to increase in St. Martin in general, not specific items, but in general.
Yes.
Minister
Thank you, Minister.
You stated it well, Prime Minister. I mean, we need more of a unified approach. In the first meeting ever with the unions, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, my first initial thing was, this is not a us against you thing. This is a St. Martin thing, and we need to find a common ground and realize the situation. Because if you are not even taking into consideration the reality that we are in, then to me, you might not be in touch with what's going on. Because, I mean, say one, say two, we all are here, we all are St. Martiners, we are all living and seeing our neighbors every day. I pass by one of my neighbors and I drop off a bag of bread every single day consistently. And I try to do as much as I can do. Now, if we can take the small cut for this year and next year to be able to help this entire country stay afloat, then I think that is a small price to pay in order to make sure that our neighbors are good. Because if we don't do it, it's going to cause civil unrest, which is going to bring stress and an extra workload on the police. It is going to bring stress on our nurses and our medical professionals and all these different things. So we really need to take this into consideration when acting based on not being informed accordingly. So I believe that we as government need to do a better job too at spreading the word, which I intend to do, and I'm sure that my colleagues are intending to do the same as well.
Yes, thank you. We've also had a discussion just a few minutes ago with the government-owned companies. They are also understanding that the cut is being requested across the board from those who have it to help those who do not have it. And so I must say I'm feeling positive moving forward. I think our people are very understanding and temporary to be a forever story, especially if we can keep our social be unemployed. If we can assist those people who have no money, we can keep crime down. We can keep movement in the country. Move towards opening up. We're moving into phase 3 next week. Today, but seeing as this is much more urgent servants out there, but to the general population of St. Martin. Together, we can. We want to stand on our own 2 feet. We have the capacity, we have the human resources. We just now have to pull it together, help each other, and move St. Martin through this tough time into a time when things will be definitely much better than this. We have done it before. We can show the rest of the world what true resilience is. Minister, your final words, as you know, it's 6 o'clock, yes, and we have to meet the unions.
PM, just before we leave, I just want to make a point that you mentioned. Yes, we did have a meeting with the government-owned companies, but I think we should also clarify for the public and also their employees that, given the situation, if we can imagine the airport, for example, there's no income for the last 2 to 3 months. That they were already planning to make cuts without the conditions. So it's not because of the conditions they're making cuts, they're making cuts to survive already. So let's make those statements clear. Some companies are making cuts already because they have to survive.
My final words, I would like to say, the Minister of Finance used a key word there, survival. I think we need to put things in perspective and realize that we are in survival mode. And it's not a matter of living, but surviving through these times until we have better times to look forward to. And with that being said, I would like to say, God bless the people of St. Martin. Keep your head up, and we will go through this and get through this together.
All right, thank you so much. I really want to reiterate again. Some people have read a letter that I sent out to the civil servants and think that the letter says different to what we're saying. A 12.5% cut of our personnel costs is not a 12.5% cut of salaries. It is a 12.5% cut across the board. This government has chosen to fill it in by taking a cut of the vacation pay and 2 or 3 other small items that the minister mentioned before, and not the salaries. We would like you to be able to keep your salaries, to make your daily and monthly bills, and be able to carry out what you need to carry out during the month. What we are looking at is 12.5% off of the total personnel costs of government. And in that, our minister was able to pull from the vacation pay and split it in 2. It would be easier, of course, to just take the full vacation pay. In the discussion with the unions back and forth, we were able to concede 50% now, 50% next year, and then we would have the full amount, let's say over a full year period, to be able to assist the others. And yes, all ministers have already agreed to a 20% cut of salary as well as cut of their vacation pay, which amounts to 26%, 1% more than has been asked by the Dutch government. So we are willing to take it with you. We are willing to suffer with you. And I believe that we worked very, very hard in the 2 months that we've been here, and we will continue to do so. But we have to be honest, we have to be open, and we will continue to be transparent with you, the people of St. Martin, as to what the realities are that we are facing. And we expect that you will be understanding and assist as much as possible. So we have to do what we have to do, You have to do what you have to do, but we're hoping that in hearing the other side of the story, you will make choices that are best for the entire country. Thank you for your attention. We'll be coming back to you with more information sessions as the days go by to be able to answer many of your other questions. Thank you for tuning in. This has been PM Talks for today, the 28th of May. God bless you, St. Martin.